Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we know that the fourth industrial revolution has been pushed by the World Economic Forum and Klaus Nut Schwab himself for some time. Okay, a lot of people have featured Yuval Noah Harari, who recently did this TEDx podcast where they had a long, involved conversation with him. And what I found striking is how starkly he basically told everybody that was listening that the vast majority of the human populace should have a real reason to feel uneasy, and really it's in their subconscious minds, whether or not they're willing to admit it or not, that they don't have a part in the next quote-unquote story. In other words, they're set up for extinction. And no one's really drawn that point, but he openly says it. And this piece out today, augmented tech can change the way we live, but only with the right support and vision. I'm sorry, not today, it was last week, is just more of their propaganda to psychologically prepare you for what they are about to implement on society via human brain interfaces that are inside your body one way or another. Because right now, what is directly talked about in this is Neuralink type technology. And of course, it's the best thing since breakfast. It's going to do everything for us. It is going to stop dyslexics from having dyslexia. It actually starkly says, hey, how many pharmaceuticals do you already put in your body? Same thing. These are bioceuticals. What? I don't just volunteer my body to Big Pharma, but they make it like it's second nature, and all this is going to be second nature. There's even a how-to video. And by the end of it, it's not just depression, it's not just ADHD, right? It's healthcare to well care and solving all of your medical issues as well. And one of the most stark comments in this article is that this generation of children coming up already expect to have superpowers. They already expect to be beyond human, more human than a human. And that, again, is because they've been psychologically prepared. Now, on top of reading portions of this article, we're, of course, going to have to play videos and show you the documents where human brain interfaces, okay, they're already a thing and have been. This is the Security 2040 document by the RAND Corporation, where they're not only talking about brain chips in a manner of a surgical device, but nanotechnology that then enters your body and regulates your endorphins as such and your nervous system so that you are a better soldier on the battlefield. You're less likely to shoot to miss is one of the many examples that are given in this, okay? And open document, anybody can check it out. We're going to go to the Future Strategic Warfare document where they tell you this doesn't just end with humans merging with machines in the sense that not only is automation and robotization going to take out so many of our jobs, and they're going to put what they want on a UBI type system, a social credit score system, and get you used to virtual metaverse type situations that are better than real life. But that virtual age will end with the peasant class uploading into the machines, and you have a post-human world. That's it. Human contaminated machines. But let's get into it. Don't take my word for it. We're going to read augmented tech can change the way we live, but only with the right support and vision. I would like to remind everybody to thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. We're still on YouTube by the skin of our nuts, but we're here. Rockfin, $9.99 a month or $99.99 for the year gets you everybody's premium content. And pinned at the top here, by the way, Arma Documentary Films, Shade the Motion Picture, Invisible Empire and New World Order, Define Fabled Enemies, and Loose Change Final Cut. They are all free. You can find them in other places such as Rumble, which we're streaming to as well. And if you want to support the broadcast, consider buying me a coffee, $5, $10, $15. It truly does mean the world for me and allows me to bring this information to a multitude of people. All right. So already they're saying, hey, you've got a cell phone. Hey, we've got these goggles. Hey, this technology is already here. We don't want to misrepresent it, okay? And they say right here, as much as visual and hearing aids are a part of our lives today, implant technologies could become the norm in the future. And they're constantly using this bullshit term, stakeholders. They keep telling you you're going to have a stake and a say in everything. No, you're not. No, you're not. And that's where the ethics come in. In fact, we're also going to play some of the When Humans Become Cyborg clips from Davos in 2020, where they're talking about collective swarm intelligence in drones. And the thing is that these human brain interfaces, they already have them in the sense that you can wear a device and control these drones. It's declassified technology. Swarm drones by your mind. And Annie Jacobson was talking about this in the Pentagon's Brain. There's like a 2015 interview I recently saw with her where I think it's like the World Affairs Council. If you get a chance to watch that, please do. It's 2015. She talks about the term transhumanism and how that's a DARPA term and how they have a great PR department. And now the next level of this are these globalist organizations preparing you for that technology to be rolled out on the people. Stakeholder capitalism. You have no stake in this other than the fight for humanity to be opposed to it. Stakeholders in society will need to agree on how ethically make these amazing technologies a part of our lives. Again, they're not giving us a say. All right? I mean, you look at this. Superheroes have been dominating big and small scenes for a while, but there's a subtle change happening. Many children expect to develop superpowers themselves. I want that to really sink in. I loved comic books as a young man. When I was growing up, first of all, I was apt to draw all these things. I was big into, basically being creative, right? I think that was a big part of my life, and it was a part that was important. And when in the 90s, you saw like a little hint that all of a sudden this was going to become part of the culture. It's a cool thing, right? They didn't have to be perfect, but like the Batman movies from the late 80s into the 90s, the first two, Tim Burton, they were like pieces of art, right? And then as the pictures got bigger and bigger, you kind of rooted for them. But now the entire movie and entertainment industry kind of revolves around this superhero universe. It's everything. It's not just Clark Kent and Superman, right? It's not just a Richard Donner film. It's all of society. And then the video games have gotten really good. And now the headsets are out there. And now you have a generation of people that think that they're going to move things with their mind like Luke Skywalker. And I love Star Wars too. In fact, Star Wars has a real political message. The first 6 movies before they butchered it, really. With the last 3, the one part of the reboot in the beginning was pretty decent, but by the end, that thing was trash, man. It's all trash, and they took out so many of the political implications. All right? Just check this out. Augmentation can be defined as the extension of rehabilitation where technological aids such as glasses, cochlear implants, or prosthetics are designed to restore a lost or impaired function. Now, again, they sell it on you. This is going to empower humanity. Look at what we've done. But the truth is, once you put this into humanity on a mass level, it is a huge tool for enslavement, and that of the very mind and consciousness of us as human beings. And are we human anymore? Add to it, a completely healthy individual, such as technology, can augment night goggles, exoskeletons, and brain-computer interfaces. Same language they use over at RAND. Build up the picture. The augmenting technology will help in all stages of life. Notice it's all stages of life. Children in a learning environment, professionals at work with ambitious senior citizens. There are many possibilities. Again, all positive. It's going to help everybody. All right? And you look at this thing. First, I want to read this because it's pretty wild. Another example, many children with attention deficit struggle in school. In the best case, they get special education services or classroom accommodations. Oh no, a lot of them are drugged up, as you admit later on. Look, here's the thing with kids. Number one, they're kids. There's a whole thing going on. There's home life, there's their social life, and then there's their education. And I was a pretty bright kid, but I was very hyper, if you will. I had a lot of energy. I still do. And I still maintained enough self-control to write things down and learn things, and I got things wrong. If you're patient enough with your child, if you're involved enough with your child, I'm not saying they're going to be brilliant, but they're going to be better. And if you instill in them a work ethic and a mode where they're writing things down, they are looking at their mistakes, they're not just going through the motions, you're going to improve upon that by leaps and bounds, and you're going to give that child tools for as they become an adult. Now, if you back up and you just don't have the time, or you buy into this ADHD or ADD and you pill them up, you're going to have a lot of problems down the line. Now, with children and in life, there are always going to be problems down the line. But why would you biochemically alter your child when you haven't even tried, right? Tried the things that I just discussed. And again, they don't want you to try those things because we've got human brain interfaces. All right? However, with extra visual and audio guidance that blocks off excess stimuli, in other words, mind control, an otherwise enabled child can cope with a standard school environment. And when class is over and playtime begins, they can just take the aids off. Well, not if they're implantable. And if you look behind me, a translation chip for dyslexia, they don't intend for you to take them off. All right? And that's why I don't like this technology to begin with. Number one, there's a lot of sci-fi out there where it was these devices that you could take off and break free from. Because, look, this is mind control. You better believe it. They're telling you they're going to block off excess stimuli. What? Oh. Oh. And in this one, I think it takes about 90 seconds for the whole thing. And the first 30 seconds is all positive. Look at what we're doing for humanity. And then all of a sudden, we're back to human brain interfaces. So we're going to read more of this article. We're going to play this. Let's thumbs this video up. And remember to subscribe and share. So let's do it here. Oh, see, cochlear implants, prosthetics, PR department. Hey, look at that. My dog's got one too. Oh, healthy individuals. We could use them too. There's a nice little eyeball. You like how they threw that in there? Don't worry. You could be healthy. And it's like a camera eyeball. Again, you're going to be a cyborg. It's not if, but when, according to Davos. That's how they start their forum. Yeah, exoskeleton. AR goggles. By the way, there was a big push for Google Glass and other AR-type devices over a decade ago. And one could argue that it was the fact that these devices didn't have great battery lives. People thought they were getting banned in bars, for instance. People were trying to wear them in bars. They're like, no, not here, buddy. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. By the way, in this, they also mentioned COVID 1984 surveillance. I just want to point that out, and all the fun little apps you now have, because everything's positive, according to these people, with their authoritarian measures. Anyway, there was a big push for these goggles, and I think with smaller, sleeker looks, these things are going to be popular eventually, within the next 5 to 10 years, if not sooner. And one of the reasons will be that many of them will be integrated VR devices as well as AR. Augmented reality is kind of like an overlay you can interact with, and not quite VR, where VR is more of an immersive thing. And most people think, well, what about the suits? You're going to have the haptic suits. They've already, World Economic Forum, we've done the videos, already has these devices and are promoting them that gives haptic feedback via magnetic resonance waves where you don't have to wear a suit. You just project it in a certain way, and you feel that as if you're feeling something in reality. Oh, phones open up a world of information. See? And there we go. This is going to be more intertwined with our bodies in the form of implants. So now we're getting to the good stuff. Like I told you, about 30 seconds of propaganda here. We're great. Don't worry about it. Oh, by the way, we're going to implant you with stuff. Oh, pacemakers or brain implants are in the first place. And they've already done this. So we're going to show you probably the first clip is going to be Dennis Bushnell, the future strategic warfare document guy, okay, talking about in 2018 how there's already 200,000 plus people in the world. This is 2018, 4 years ago, with brain chips. I would argue we're probably past the million mark. And we're not talking cochlear implants. We're not talking retinal implants. We're talking about straight up brain up. See, look at this medical necessity. They equated a pacemaker with brain chips. Okay? But now they're going to find other ways to be in your daily life and commonplace like this one. A translation chip for dyslexia. Hell, you're going to have superpowers. A translation chip for everything. For everything. You're going to be able to speak to the trees. Forget about everybody's language, right? And whether you're able to speak to the trees or not, people that have these devices, they'll be made to believe they are. After all these different endorphins and drugs and the nervous system itself they intend to control is the real deal, real technology. And look at that, there it is. Brain diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, because they've been so honest about it before. In fact, there are real studies out there right now that Viagra, because of the opening up of your blood vessels and blood flows, is actually a good treatment for that. And they found that it's actually extremely helpful. You're not hearing that everywhere. What can it do? Oh, nuts or allergies. Your chip's going to stop you from having traces of nuts or other allergic material. Isn't that great? Get the chip. I mean, take a look at this. Technology will not be the limiting factor. Our ethics will. Instead, boundaries have to be drawn. See that? And you're the stakeholder. You're going to draw those boundaries, right? It's not going to be sociopathic, generational, nepotistic billionaires and their spawn, right? And their minions, right? No. Not of course not. How do we build ethical framework for a technologically augmented society? I mean, guys, get with it. Are we moving towards a brave new world? As scary as chip implants may sound, they form of a natural evolution that wearables once underwent. See, Dennis Bushnell is also going to tell you that the evolution of everything is over. We are doing that now. Guys, it's me and you. These black sites and black programs have been completely unethical. They have experimented on the population. They are involved in active propaganda against all of us, an inversion of reality, psychological warfare, and they're trying to say right here, hearing aids or glasses no longer carry a stigma. This has nothing to do with a hearing aid or glasses. They are accessories and are even considered a fashion item. So what? See, again, they want to make this fashionable. This is psychological warfare. In fact, let's play our first clip because we're going to come back to this. But let's play Bushnell right here, talking about how humans are already becoming cyborgs at Fire 2018. Again, these people love to brag, especially when they're in a situation or scenario where it is the minions of those that I talked about cutting business deals and preparing for the future.
Humans are now becoming cyborgs. We have cochlear implants to hear, artificial retinas to see, artificial hearts to live, artificial limbs to move, artificial organs to functions, and brain chips.
Now, before he tells you that there's 200,000 people with brain chips, you notice how there's a script? Now, he was saying the same script in 2011, okay, at the Blue Tech Forum. We've played that clip when only 10,000 people had these brain chips. But he's also talking about the brain chips with super soldiers. They've been working on those for decades. They've been available for decades. That's already a reality. What's really interesting here is, again, he's telling you the evolution of everything is over. If you go back to his future strategic warfare document, he talks about genomically repairing the human species, and it's welcome to the bots, Borgs, and humans of 2025. 2025 is right around the corner, folks. All right, so listen to Bushnell's here.
There's a couple 100,000 people wandering around with brain chips now to fix congenitally defective brains and increasingly to fix memory and other things. DARPA's working on brain chips for super soldiers. And people are now working, thanks to Musk and other people, funding direct machine-brain communications. It's not us versus them, us versus the machines. We're merging.
Now, before he tells you about this merger, Musk tweeted something out, again, some stupid meme about the Large Hadron Collider, et cetera, et cetera. Musk is pushing all of this transhumanism. Musk is subsidized by the government. Musk is part of SpaceX, part of NASA. This is the chief engineer of NASA for decades, a guy who's been around since the Gemini days. He works for the national security apparatus. This is the bureaucrat. This is the guy. All right? When he's praising Musk, and Musk is telling you we can coup who we want to coup, he's not your buddy. He's sustainability. He's CO2 is a bad thing that needs to be regulated guy. He's the guy they pushed with the electric car, Johnny Nonsense. You understand that? You get it? Are you starting to understand? So when this man already tells you that it's Malthus 101 when it comes to population control and them instituting that, which he did at the Blue Tech Forum, and we've played it many times, when his documentation tells you about world population stabilization. Okay, here's the document. Let's just type it in. Let's just go with world. Worldwide technological revolutions. Let's get to the next one. World in the throes of the triple exponential IT bio nano era. Okay, you get it? And this talks about GDPs. The revolution here, beyond human AI, automatics, robots in the large, VR, holodecks. Remember, the virtual age is coming. And that's when the peasants upload. Forget about just the augmentation, all right? We're already at tele-everything. Everything. And by the way, this piece we're going to go back to is all about telemedicine. Oh, yeah, that's going to be the best thing ever. Okay? Worldwide economy. There it is. Stabilization of the world population. Huh. Equalization of the haves and the have-nots, except for the people at the very, very top. What they're telling you is there is no middle class. There is no upper middle class. We don't have any time for the peasants anymore. All right? Demise of the U.S. underclass is. It's not the underclass. It's all the people that consider peasants. And just because you have $10 million in your bank account doesn't mean they think you're any different. And he's going to tell you right now that at the end of the day, we've taken hold of evolution, baby.
And this is the human evolution of the humans. There is no more natural evolution of anything.
But remember, in the document, they're going to tell you about the natural evolution of these wearables right here behind me into implants. But there is no natural evolution of anything anymore. That's right, because these people have taken control of it. That's the reality. So let's continue with Mr. Bushnell.
People are convinced that the human evolution of everything is 10 million times faster than any natural evolution. And so this is just part of the human evolution of the humans, which will apply in a little bit when I talk about something else.
When he talks about something else. Let's go back to the document, and then we're going to have him tell you about the virtual age and how, again, it's us merging with the machines, and the best we can hope for is human-contaminated machines. Okay, drugs often show unwanted effects because they affect multiple biological processes at the same time. Someone on long-term medication may want to try an implant that sends a very precise electrical or optical pulse instead. And then they're going to tell you that you've already accepted, all right? You've already accepted all these pharmaceuticals, and a lot of people have for some reason. By the way, not even 100 thumbs up. Can we get them up? You'll accept this too. Getting an implant is obviously more invasive than picking up a pair of glasses. Don't worry, Elon Musk has a robot kiosk that's going to do it in 6 hours. Generally, implants will be linked to medical conditions, generally, except for that generation that, whatchamacallit, believes that they're going to have superpowers. And notice this, carrying around the equivalent of a dog's nose, like a gadget on your phone or a wearable necklace, can be handy to sniff out COVID-19 or food allergens. So now you're going to have those type of superpowers. You're going to be able to sniff out COVID-19 and food allergens. Wow. Awesome. All in the mind. And by the way, here's Neuralink. Brain implants take us one step further and allow us to tap straight into the body's operating system. We have already started interfacing with the brain using neural probes to mitigate symptoms of epilepsy. They've been doing far beyond that. Okay, and then they have Parkinson's disease or depression. And boy, are a lot of people being diagnosed with depression. Most applications will remain based on medical necessity rather than a mind-reading tool. While it is true that companies like Neuralink have been targeting the brain from the get-go, brain implants may not be the first choice in our augmented society. No, they got to get you used to it. All right? They got to get you used to it first. And they're going to get you used to it to a guy who's tweeting about CERN. He's got funny memes. He likes sustainability. Give me a break. All right? This part, they're so brazen. They're so brazen. They tell you that you're going to accept this. If the idea of a chip in your body makes you cringe, consider all the pharmaceuticals you take without question. The Cradle to the Grave art installation in the British Museum confronts us visually with our pill-popping behavior. It displays a 13-meter-long fabric interwoven with 14,000 pills. The estimated average prescribed to a British person in a lifetime. Around 65% of American children and teens with ADHD, meanwhile, are prescribed stimulant medication. They actually talk about amphetamines. We often forget that these drugs are related to amphetamines. No shit. I don't forget. So this is going to be better. They affect the brain and have long-term side effects. We may consider electroceuticals, small implants that mitigate symptoms of various disorders by sending out small electrical pulses. The limits on implants are going to be set forth by ethical arguments rather than a scientific capacity. So they're telling you, we already have the science for this. Get ready. We just got to convince you. All right? It's just, there's a gray zone. Ethics will advise us. They talk about an ivory tower of academia discussing this. No, the ivory tower of academia has been constructed by these psychological warfare operatives. This is the scientific elite that Eisenhower warned us about and that I put into my latest presentation over at the Reawaken America tour, period. So I want to go back to Bush and Clay here. Or I'm sorry, Bushnell here with, I forget what the woman's name is. But essentially, he lets the cat out of the bag that eventually this doesn't end up well for humanity at all. At all. It ends up pretty badly for all of us. I got to tell you, it's not great.
And eventually this all ends up with uploading into the machines. And instead of us versus them, humans versus the machines, we become them. Or they become us, or you end up with human-contaminated machines. Now,
human-contaminated machines is where this ends up, because it's not if, but when we become cyborgs.
We're going to start the When Humans Become Cyborg session. I always want to be a cyborg. I'm waiting for the day to become one, but
she's waiting for the day. And, again, they talk about deep brain stimulation. They talk about the smart drugs here. And by the way, this person's an ethicist. She's in neuroscience, but she's an ethicist. These are the type of devices that I was talking about that already control swarm drones. And she talks about swarm technology. This little bad boy is almost an hour long. It deserves a full watch along. But, I mean, again, they're pushing it like, hey, it's happening. We're doing it. Don't worry. We're going to be ethical about it. I'm sure you are. Folks, we are funded by you. Without you, I would not be able to do this. So consider it. $5, $10, $15. We got the links down below. Or become a premium subscriber over at the Rockfin, $9.99 a month. Or $99.99 for the year. Gets you everybody. Michael Tracy, Max Blumenthal, Jimmy Dore, AM Wake Up, Richard Andrew Grove, and so many other great ones. We're also rumbling. I want to thank Odyssey for backing me up because you never know whether I'm going to have a YouTube channel or not. And if you are over on YouTube, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe, and please check out all the documentary films for free in the playlist. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Rumble, thank you so much for all the support you've been giving me as well. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to reach as many people as we currently are. So I love you guys. It's not about left or right. This is the fight for humanity, so buckle up. I'll see you on the flip side.